Vibrations connect each one of us. The sound traveling inside this room. Maybe it's not outside, it's inside you. You can probably close your eyes and still see the sea because your breath is flowing just like it. There's a painting on every textile that is weaved, and it's all flowing between you and me. So why not join in with some more rhythms to let it flow very naturally, organically, like how everything just grows on the skin, like falling flowers to the soil. Meet me where the roots just merge together, and that's where you'll find the soul.
ask you all to take a moment, stand up for a second, shake it out. I know there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of answering questions. Shake it out, shake out your legs. Turn to the person next to you. Hopefully you have someone next to you. And please introduce yourselves. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. You've hopefully introduced yourself to at least one person. You can take a seat. Now, think about the last time someone truly listened to you. A moment where you felt heard. Not just your words, but truly understood what you were trying to express. Sit in that moment for a second or two. What is it that you feel? What allowed for that momentary connection to happen? Now, imagine if music could serve as that kind of portal to deep listening, a tool that opens up space for real understanding and connection. This is the belief that led us to start FoundSound Nation. FoundSound Nation was started by musicians, all of whom, in one way or another, found themselves disillusioned with the institutional structures we were moving through. Some of us came from the Academy of Music, traditional, competitive, hyper-focused on technical execution, while others like myself were immersed in the commercial music industry, where marketability often takes precedence over artistry, profits over connection, formula over risk-taking. I remember moments of deep frustration, watching how the industry seemed, and still is, increasingly detached from real audiences, favoring trends, algorithms, and mass appeal over authentic storytelling and meaningful exchange. The kind of deep participatory engagement that makes music truly transformative was and is being edged out. At the same time, I and many of those I was drawn to felt pulled towards something different. I grew up in apartheid South Africa, but came to adulthood in the time of our country's transition, and I was in a multiracial pop band that served as a powerful symbol for the hopes and dreams of this new nation. As a collective of artists, we come from backgrounds in community organizing, youth education, and social activism, where we have seen firsthand how creative expression can be a catalyst for grassroots community building and youth empowerment. It wasn't just disillusionment with the existing structures that drove us, it's the glimpse of something more expansive, more meaningful. We started asking, what if music making prioritized collaboration over competition, storytelling over spectacle, and social impact over commercial success? How could it create spaces for deep connection and understanding? FoundSound Nation emerged from these questions, not as a fully formed idea, but as an impulse, an experiment, a belief that music can be a tool for dialogue, connection, and amplifying voices too often unheard. One of the most essential things in any society is the ability to truly hear one another, to listen, to understand, and to build empathy. Without spaces for shared storytelling, we risk losing sight of each other's humanity. Music, by its nature, is a powerful storytelling tool. It bypasses linguistic, cultural, and even political barriers, creating openings for real listening. It provides a shared space, a third thing, something deeply human and innate that becomes common ground, a starting point for deeper understanding. As a collective, we've seen this in many ways. When gathered oral histories are woven into sonic compositions, when artists visit community centers and old-aged homes, bringing their stories into spaces that don't often get access to these kinds of cultural exchange. We've watched musicians from historically divided communities, Armenian and Turkish, Indian and Pakistani, urban and rural across political divides, sit down together and create something neither could have made alone. These artists on stage could each tell you a story of reaching across divides through sound and music making. The simple act of making music together, of co-creating, can dissolve even the most entrenched barriers. And then there's the moment of hearing yourself. One of the most powerful aspects of our work is making sure that people, especially young people, have the chance to not only express themselves creatively, but also to hear themselves in ways they never have before. There's something profound about hearing your own voice, your own ideas played back to you in a new form. It tells you what you have to say matters. We see this in our street studio project, a mobile recording studio in a public space, where someone walking by, just a passerby, no musical background, can step up, record a sound, a thought, and then immediately hear it transformed into something bigger than themselves. We've worked in juvenile detention centers where a young person who has never before considered themselves an artist hears their words turned into song. Time and again, we have watched this spark confidence, agency, and a sense of ownership over one's own story. At its core, the act of creation is an act of imagination. It's a way of envisioning new possibilities, of dreaming beyond what exists. Curiosity about the unknown is essential to our humanity. When we lose the ability to imagine, we become stuck in rigid ways about the world, stuck in fear, stuck in polarization, in isolation. But when we create, we open doors to new ways of thinking, to new futures. And perhaps most importantly, we believe in the power of co-creation, the act of making something with another person. Creating music together is not just about collaboration. It requires vulnerability, trust, and compromise. It's one thing to express yourself, but it's another to merge your expression with someone else. True co-creation means truly seeing the person across from you. It requires listening, adapting, and finding common ground. I could tell you so many stories of how this kind of collaboration has changed people. Not just the people we work with, but ourselves. I've seen musicians from vastly different backgrounds come together not just to perform, but to live, learn, and create side by side. I've watched music serve as a bridge between cultures, bringing together artists who might never have crossed paths otherwise, yet who find an undeniable common language in shared creativity. By focusing on these principles, storytelling, empowerment, imagination, and deep connection, we've seen firsthand how music can create real change at both an individual and collective level. But FoundSound Nation is more than just a single organization. It's a network, a movement. Through our global music residency, One Beat, and other initiatives, we've built a community of more than 600 artists over 85 countries who are using music as a tool for social change in their own ways. Both Kasiva and Swarupa each use drumming as a tool for women's empowerment. Rara has been pursuing an interdisciplinary approach to environmental activism. In 2023, she organized a tour across the island of Java, Indonesia, all by bike. Kranti is the co-founder of India's first all-woman hip-hop collective, and is currently preserving and studying Indian folk music as a tool for climate and gender justice solutions. And Melissa is an improviser who draws from deep contemplative and esoteric practice to inform her performance. This work doesn't just happen in the spaces we directly create. It extends outward, as these artists take the same principles of co-creation, deep listening, and radical imagination back to their own communities, adapting them to local contexts. In this way, FSN isn't just an organization. It's an ever-growing ecosystem of artists and cultural practitioners who believe in the power of music, the act of collaboration, and the necessity of deep listening to shape a more empathetic, connected, and imaginative world. We believe this work, this way of making music, is not just about sound. It's about how we choose to live together, how we care to listen, and how we shape the world around us. If we can imagine a more connected and empathetic world through music, then maybe we can start building it. And now I'm going to hand over to these artists to show you a little of how we do this and how we think about this approach to music.
Hi. I would like to start with a meditation with all of you. As an artist, as an individual, I believe all living and non-living things in the universe connect each other through vibration. So because of that, I really care about meditation and listening our inner world and universe. Please close your eyes first. Sit comfortably. Yes. Wonderful. Just focus your body right now. And bring all your attention to this room. And we will do all together a humming sound. Are you ready? Keep going, please. Yes. Feel the vibration first in your chest. You are amazing. You are just a vibration right now, beyond all your identities, your genders, everything. If it's possible, if you can, please bring your attention person next to you, and this person is a vibration like you right now. Probably you have similar purposes, happiness, sadness in this lifetime. But just listen all this vibration from the person next to you. Right now we are all together. We are creating just one sound.
Notice how we go from one singular voice to a collective voice in the room. create a humming sound, we need to take a deep breath before that. And we understand the relationship between the breath and the hum. And we try and understand the subtle rhythm your body is creating. A breath, a hum. A breath, a hum. Feel your heartbeat. Every one of our bodies has a rhythm. If you want to sway to your rhythm, feel the pulse in your body, the heartbeat, the breath, the hum, all of it creating that special, unique rhythm for you. If you feel comfortable, you may continue to hum or gradually finish.
I was a sound before I was born. I am a sound in all my earthly forms, in my earthly existence. And when my earthly life is over, I will continue to be a sound, a vibration. What vibration I am and what vibration I will be is in my hands. What vibration I want to live on the earth and what vibration I want to take away from the earth.
In this state, what is your sound today? Yell it if you can.
Kasiva, I'm going to stand next to you here to ask you a question. You spent much of your childhood with your grandmother, who was a storyteller. Tell me how that shaped you, your approach to your craft, what you do, and how you consider storytelling in the work.
My grandmother, God rest her soul, her name was Kasiva, and I was named after her. And we would sit by the fire in the village, and she would tell me all these little folk tales. And she was such a good storyteller, and I kept bugging her to tell me more and more. And she was old, and she would get tired. So she found a way to get me not to bug her so much. And she'd be telling me a story, and then she'd tell me, Kasiva, did you hear that? And I'd ask her, what? And then she'd tell me, go to the cow pen and listen to what the black cow is telling the spotted goat. And I would go there very eager to listen because I was a very curious child. And I would hear nothing, and then I'd come and tell her, stop kidding. Then she'd tell me, go back, the secret is ending, run. And then I'd go back and I'd really listen. I would even stay there for like an hour and a half, really trying to get the whole secret. And I would really listen. And in the process of this deep listening, almost to a meditative state, I started hearing sounds. I would hear the subtlest of sounds, the animals breathing, my mom yelling in the kitchen, a spoon dropping, the crickets in the fields, the hooves of the animals, on the ground. And where all these sounds intersected in indefinite time, I started hearing rhythm. And so when I would go to bed, I would start try and replicate these sounds on anything around me, on my body, on my thighs, on my chest, on my, like that, on the pillow, on the bed frame. And until today, I still use sounds from my environment to inspire rhythm, because there's so much rhythm around us. So, Kasiva, thank you for teaching me how to pay attention to my environment and to really, really tune into myself and deep listen, because what we are looking for is right within us and right around us when we pay attention.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hara. I'm from Indonesia. I would like to invite you to another deep listening practice. This time around, I'll perform a song for all of you. But while I'm performing the song, I would like to invite you to think about an environment or a space where this song brings you to. You can free write or draw or do whatever you want while I perform. Okay. Kau kabut tebal dan putih di lembah sunyi datang mencekam. Kau kabut putih dan dingin, begini suram. Hujan rintik menambah sepi, hati dan muram dingin merana. Kabut kini kian menipis, harap cahaya tiada perih, betapa tiada duka, tapi lihatlah lihat, semakin terang cuaca. Menghilanglah kabut putih, hujan gerimis pun lenyap segera, lembah sunyi mulailah riang. Kan cerah pasti. So this song is called Kabut Putih. The song was written in 1971 by a female political prisoner called Zubaidah Nunci AR. She was a victim of the 1965 genocide in Indonesia. And she wrote this song while she was held at concentration camp called Pelantungan in central Java. It was a camp specially and only for women political prisoners at that time. Kabut Putih means white fog. The camp was located in a valley, and every morning it will be covered by a thick white fog. It is a very eerie place because previously, during the Dutch colonial times, it was actually a leprosy isolation hospital. So you can imagine just the vibe of the place. It was very dark, it was very damp. They could still find bones, according to the stories. And here is Zubaidah Nunci AR writing a song as she was inspired by the little glimpse of light that came through the thick white fog on one morning. And so came to be the song, Kabut Putih. It is a song about hope in times of extreme repression and just unbelievable violence, structural violence, and she was able to write the song. My personal connection to victims and political prisoners of the 1965 genocide I found my way to this song through this connection, and I felt a strong connection as I was trying to find hope myself in today's world. It is very hard to be hopeful. But how Zubaidah Nunci could find hope through this song at that time made me a little bit, not a little bit, but a lot ashamed that I wasn't feeling hopeful at this time. If they were hopeful at that time, I don't have the right to stay hopeless. So in 2024, I re-recorded the song with a good friend of mine, Frau, and in collaboration with Dialita. Dialita is a choir consisting of women who are ex-political prisoners from the 1965 genocide. So we collaborated and co-created this project called Kabut Putih in 2024. We then launched a lifelong open call in addition to the release of the song, which engages the public to learn and perhaps unlearn our own history. And especially knowing that we have a very dark history that's been erased structurally, systematically by our own government in Indonesia. And it's not really a dark past. I think it's also very dark at the moment in our country. But this experimentation of creating a lifelong open call. So I'm used to making open calls, but you know how open calls have deadlines? I don't think there should be a deadline for an open call to really learn and unlearn our history. That would be wild in my mind. So a lifelong, like no deadlines, forever. From this experimentation so far, I have received a lot of really valuable feedback and responses as part of the open call. I have people writing a reading list, like a book list. Books written by female authors on the 1965 genocide. They have been spreading this list online and pervasively, and now people are understanding the context a little bit more about the song. We have book clubs in different towns across Indonesia discussing about the song and books related to this song, learning and unlearning histories of Dialita, the choir, and how they came to be and what were their histories. And yesterday, just yesterday, a young lady sent a message to me that when she heard this song, it was her first encounter with this history of Indonesia. So she started watching documentaries about Dialita. She started watching documentaries about the past, basically, or that period of time in our history. And she said that she learned so much, and she actually had hope to go forward, now knowing that she understood what happened in the past, at least partially. Victims and family or descendants of the political prisoners have came up to us and said they felt they have been seen, they feel heard, and they feel like they have been embraced by this project. And one of the most inspiring things from this project is young people connecting directly with Dialita. Dialita is actually an abbreviation of Di atas 50 tahun, above 50 years, because I think they're above 70 years now. They have to change their name, I think. So these young people are going to Dialita shows, watching their performances when they do their choir performances, allowing a transfer of knowledge and wisdom that goes both ways, from Dialita, but also to Dialita, from the young people. So from this project, this project has really transformed the way I engage with music and the way I produce and read music now. And these are some key learnings that I have found or discovered through this project. First, a song is never a song. A song is birthed within a specific socio-political context. It is an object of politics. And with this understanding, I have become much more intentional in the way I do music, in the way I choose the music I perform, in the way I reproduce music as well. I think music experience is a powerful vehicle for social transformation. I also think that a song is knowledge. Song contains knowledge. And as an educator myself, I think a song is a very effective vehicle for critical consciousness. I see every performance that I do, every gig, every tour, wherever that is, in the gardens, here, in front of the toilet, anywhere, is an opportunity for an education relationship. And lastly, I think a song is a community. I am reproducing the song that was written in 1971. It is the work of people before me. And I'm just gonna close with a story of how, when I released the song, I did a short listening session with Dialita, and they said they were very touched and that they were feeling hopeful that someone is retelling their story 60 years after 1965 genocide. Remembering is a political act, but in the case of us, artists and Dialita, singing is a political act.
So now we'd like to give you your own moment to reflect, to listen, a prompt. I'm going to ask you to be in pairs with somebody, and the exercise is that one person will share and the other will listen for about 1 minute, and then I'll call a switch, and then you'll swap. One person listens, the other shares. There's no co-talking in this exercise. One person is the listener, and the other is the sharer. Maybe you could really share anything that you feel to share right now, but maybe the prompt in the space of the forum where there's a lot of talking data, analytics, impact, maybe think about, what are you holding? What are you walking through this business school with? Maybe what did you enter with at the top of the week? What are you walking around carrying today? We hope that you can be as vulnerable as possible with hopefully a stranger in the room. So if you can take a moment to get into a pair, I'll make sure that everyone is in a pair. Yeah, find a partner. You guys should find partners too, if they're, yes. Okay. Partner. Okay, so I'm gonna set a timer for 1 minute, and then if you don't mind me, 2 minutes. Okay, 1.5. Okay, 1.5 minutes starting now. Ding, thank you, thank you. Universal symbol for finish your thought. Finish your thought. Please finish your thought. Ding, great bell. I wonder if, sorry to rudely interrupt your conversations, would anyone like to share what that exercise felt like, or something that you learned that you didn't know before in this conversation that you had? No, you don't want to share? Is it on?
Hello. Proximity. I definitely felt that I'm in the right room. I felt that the conversation, at the beginning, obviously, you want to chime in and you want to throw your energy into, ooh, I resonate, I jam, I vibe, I'm with you. But at the same time, being able to say, no, let me hold that space and let me listen. So I think that was what was intriguing for me at the process of wanting to throw my energy very much versus let me just receive. And I found that as I kept on receiving, I kept on enjoying a lot more. And I definitely felt heard. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share anything? No? Okay.
Thank you so much for this. For me, it was that listening is more than just hearing. There were all the sensing of her and all the stories and the things that are not seen, and all the things that are not seen.
Thank you.
So a lot of this conference is like hitting our heads. Not hitting, we're absorbing, maybe hitting.
It depends which room you're in, perhaps.
Could be, but as change makers, obviously we need to use all of our beings, so the heart and mind need to be engaged. And I found for the first time in the hours I've been here, that tears came to my eyes when I was closing my eyes and just hearing some of the music. So that was like a release. And I think we all have to remember that to bring our full selves to the change we need to make. So thank you to the artists.
Thank you.
Always thank you to the artists.
Thank you.
I just felt that this 1 minute exercise reminded me that I need to be present
very much because listening to the sharing, I felt that it is so important to just be here and not everywhere else. So I think that was super important, and I think that's the way we will overcome whatever we are facing. So we have many things to do, but just to be present is, I think, the most important thing in everything we do. If you're with someone, hearing them or just being with the space is to I have to keep reminding myself, don't think of the next place you have to go or the next meeting you have to do. And I think the sharing reminded me that be present.
Thank you. I'm going to leave some more space for any questions or feedback anyone wants to give at the end, but I would like to invite Kranti onto stage. And everyone else. As I said already, Kranti is an amazing force for women's empowerment in India. Kranti, tell me, what is your voice? What is it that you use your voice for in the society that you live in?
I think I cannot stand here and ask or tell you what my voice is. I have to go there with the people because I'm a part of them, you know. I'm a part of this community. We are all in this together. I stand for every woman's justice, peace, and everything unfair happening to her in that kitchen room. Because in my country, her place is in the kitchen, and there are men who tell that she cannot even touch an instrument. So for me, I have that rage that I want to be a voice for all those women. And Sound of Women is one of the projects that I'm running back at home. We've converted a bus into a recording studio. So instead of them traveling and fighting with their husbands or doing all that, we just go there and enter these 4 walls, record out of everything that's happening and, you know, collect all those voices, make an album and tour India. That's the plan. So it's just about coming together. There's no authority there. Come on, it's us. We got this. We got to do it together. So we're going to showcase. We're going to do this together. We have never jammed before. This is the first time. So let's just try doing this, yeah? I think 4x4 is better. We actually planned something else, but let's just stick to 4x4. And you also can be a part of this. There will be a part where I'll say Kranti, and you have to say Nari. Okay? The meaning of this is revolutionary women. So it's Kranti and Nari. So everyone, whoever feels they have this revolutionary woman inside them, regardless of their external bodily genders, just flow with us. और पुत्र ने चलाई है छुरी से रही इतना भोज दबा के अपनी चीख लगते 1000 कांटे चुभे जो राह पर इलाके में हुई प्रगति जब हुई सुशिक्षित पर अमीरों के इमारतों में भी नहीं सुरक्षित महिला अभी और मुश्किल में वो डट के जब सोच इनकी घटिया पुरानी परिभक्षित बड़ा अपना ज्ञान कर दिमाग विकसित हुआ हादसा 5 में से 3 के साथ खुद के रिश्तेदार गुनहगार इस सफा 4 दीवारों में फंसी खुशियों को देती फांसी सा हसीना कोई दासी गम को भुला के हंसी तो ढूंढते रहेगा बदाखों से खुदा तेरी लाज भूला होगा तो होगी सजा ना बस 9 से 5 दिन और रात काम करे दिल से काम सिर से शान क्रांति नारी देने आई हक समान क्रांति नारी है प्रकृति का वरदान क्रांति क्रांति नारी 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 समाज का अत्याचार रिवाज बदला आज हुए मिराज का शिकार अच्छाई का नकार जान के अनदेखा रोज हुए बलात्कार करते लोग चर्चा लेके के चाय और समाचार अब हाथ क्या उठाएगा जैसा भी तू शराबी खत्म तेरी कहानी और ना होगी गुलाम नहीं मर्दों की सेवा साथ बढ़ने की तैयारी दूर होगी समस्या साथ आए महिलाएं सारी टूट के बिखर गई अन्याय की बेड़िया रफ्तार से जब चढ़ती महिलाएं प्रगति की सीढ़ियां खड़े रहे साथ हो अन्याय का विनाश नारी शक्ति में भी समान आत्मविश्वास पाचुंगी से मुक्ति बनती शुरू वहीं से होती क्रांति क्रोध के विरुद्ध ना चाकी से नित्य शांति धूम नचाया समानता का गाना गाया वो ना अंत प्यार सृष्टि की महामाया 1 2 3 4 क्रांति 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 तबला तबला क्रांति देखो यहाँ पहुँचा कहाँ गलियों में काटे नाचे होके टली देखे जहाँ भी हम साहू में कली तरकड़ दो
I want to just reintroduce Kasiva from Kenya, Melissa from Turkey, Hara from Indonesia, and Swarupa and Kranti from India. We want to leave you with this question of we all create a vibration in the world through our work, through our thoughts, through our ideas. What vibration are we each leaving as we move through the world? And if anyone has any questions or would like to say anything to these wonderful artists, we have maybe 5 minutes to do that.
For 5 minutes.
No.
That's the best comment in the world.
Yes. Oh, you have the mic.
I work on climate change communication, and that it's so difficult, and we feel like we often don't get anywhere. And I'm a journalist and a written and visual person, and this is really something. Honestly, I ran into some of your members the other night. We started talking about this, but I really think if you want to communicate some of these ideas and co-create this, I'm working on extreme heat for really vulnerable populations is one thing in India. And I can really imagine getting a group of them together, understanding what their risks are and what they do, and building something that then becomes, that's how you communicate. It just exists in the community because they've made it, it becomes part of the lore, and you increase the understanding, which is fantastic. I never thought of this before this week. So.
Yeah, I'll share one of our artists from Brazil created an imaginary museum of the Amazon using only sound and set it up in a train station in Sao Paulo, gathered sounds from the Amazon, and so Brazilian citizens walk through this oral museum and experience the Amazon, many of whom have never been to the Amazon, and so creating spaces for people to actually experience the realities of climate change, for example.
Thank you very much. I really, really, really enjoyed this. If I want to listen to more of this, where do I go?
You can go to our website. I can give you a card, also FoundSoundNation.org. And we run these residencies, which is how we all met each other over the last 12 years. And at all of those residencies, we create music. It's all on Bandcamp. We have about 20 albums that exist of music, so I can share that with you.
Perfect, thank you, that would be great.
And obviously they all have their own music and albums online.
First of all, thank you so much for this session. It's been a fantastic experience. One of the things I always think about, I design education programs for people, and co-creation is one of the things we always think about, and how to bring the sense of co-creation to the students' communities we work with when we think about social change. And my question is basically, how do you start? How do you start bringing music to the spaces where, and I was just so inspired by some of the examples that you showed, but how do you start? How do you go to the community and say, hey, let's play some music, especially the communities that are divided and need to be unified by bringing back the music to.
I'll take that. And I'll be very vulnerable with this answer. When I co-founded Motra Music, which is the all-female percussion collective, it started from a need of loneliness. I was lonely because I couldn't find anybody like me relating to the issues that I was relating to, or experiencing rhythm and drumming as a woman, and seeing that there was nobody around me. That's when it hit me that I have to be the pioneer of finding or creating this space. And I went innocently on my Instagram and wrote, is there anybody out there who loves drums and loves rhythm and would like to drum with me? And you would be surprised. I had to vet the people because it was a bit overwhelming. And I realized that women have wanted to drum for a long time, but they're scared of doing it. They don't know where to start. And that was a little start. And we started meeting. We never had a space, so we would meet in a car park right outside the National Theatre. And then over time, over a year, the theatre noticed us and gave us space inside the theatre for free. And that's how Motra Music was born. And you know, a couple of years later, there's 45 graduates of Motra, and now women come into Motra and they want to stay, and others want to come. So I had to make it a yearly experience per se. So you come, you join Motra, you learn rhythm, and you form friendships and enjoy the sisterhood. And when you leave, the sisterhood doesn't leave you. It's something that stays with you forever, and you give space for another Motra musica to join us, and it goes on and on and on. So it really can start from a point of need, and yeah, there's really no formula. You can go on Instagram and say, yo, I need company, yo. I need to talk to people about my blisters and not be told, you're so soft. Because if I tell Swarupa that I have a blister, she's going to tend to me like a fellow woman because she understands. But I would go to my fellow guys and say, once I said I had a blister, and they're like, you're too soft, you're too soft. And yeah, so this is what that community means for me, and it's an example of where it started.
In educational systems and in schools, we always teach, who am I? And we don't care about what's happening around us. So I think the first step to teach a child is to lose out on the I and mine and everything is for me. You know, I think empathizing to your community and each one around you makes a lot of difference with children especially. And even women, they are always thinking about the other. So why not use that feminine quality and spread that to kind of create this space where we are thinking of a holistic solution rather than it's just for me. So looking at the lens of it selflessly more than selfishly.
I want to add just to your question quickly that I think as FoundSound Nation, we operate from the starting point that music making is innate, and that actually you don't need to be an educated musician to involve yourself in the act of music and sound making. And we have a kind of pedagogy that starts from the voice, from games, so allowing access into the music space where you don't need an instrument. And in fact, when we bring these very talented musicians together, the first thing we do for 2 days is take their instruments away from them and get them to make music without their instruments. So I think that's a place to start as well. Maybe one last question, if there are any. Yes, sir. Here is a mic.
My name is Arvind Singh. I work with the street vendors in India. So we organize these events all over, but once in a year we bring together. So I felt that we needed some music. So I approached a friend in Bollywood and got a good music director and a famous singer to sing the song. And it was a big hit among the street vendors. Then the second one, again I got a Bollywood singer, quite famous, Kyla-Rose Smith, they must be knowing. Shan was the first singer. But in both the cases, the songs were very popular among the target group. But the cost was there, So I was getting a lot of idea from innate, abilities and all that. But how do you go about it, So I would like to have more songs like the one we had at the beginning here. We are at Skoll, so because we come together there in India every year. So I was getting a lot of ideas, and even in some sessions, I was hearing use music, to foster movement, But how do you create, how do you get that cost?
Well, I can tell you that we have many musicians in our network in India, and I'm sure many of them could help you answer this question. And I think let's talk after the session. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I can take that very quickly. So since you very specifically put names and said Shan and Kailash Kher, and that's where the cost, I would understand, is going very high. I think if you break away from the USP of wanting the big Bollywood artists or the big singers to actually be the highlight of your song, if we look at maybe the street vendors themselves being the heroes of the song, right? That, like Kyla said, we have a whole network of artists. But if we are able to shift the narrative from the established popular singers or popular artists who are already up there and move your narrative to music off the streets, music by the vendors, because I know Indian cities are noisy, but that's music in a very beautiful way. So if we're able to pick sounds from there, and that's an approach.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.